Okay, should have some audio. Let's transition to the camera. Just mute that one. Turn that one down. Okay, Mike. Yeah, I'll smile. I'm just trying to make sense of all the chat because otherwise I miss someone. Good evening, all. Okay, that John JTT is only watching. Could G10AR come up and say whether he's going to transmit? I saw VZ Dave VZT earlier. I wonder whether he wants to come in. I so far have G0MJW, who will start, please, Mike. Followed by G4XAT, Gareth, followed by James, G0DQH, Colin, G4KLB, Martin, G4FKK, Keith, I wonder if you want to transmit tonight. Be good to see you. Please put your names up on the chat with a in a positive way, and then I can filter them out. Okay, it is 8 o'clock. Welcome to the BATC Thursday evening net. Notices for this week. Don't forget, on Saturday we are planning an activity day. Quite a few of us going out around the south. I know Colin KLB is out, Gareth, myself, Noel, and I'll add Noel to the list of transmitters for tonight. Gotcha. So that's this Saturday all day, and then the following weekend is a big weekend, the IARU contest, so please give that a try as well. The Monday after the contest weekend is the deadline for articles for the next CQTV. That's come around quickly, but please, if you've got anything, get it to the editor or one of us before June the 14th. Okay, without further ado, I'll put it round to Mike. G0MJW and the group, G8GKQ and the BATC Net.
Good, hopefully that's working. Yeah, I think I can hear myself. Good evening, everyone. Sorry, you took me by surprise there, Dave. I was just about to go and get a drink, but never mind, I can do that afterwards. And I didn't catch your list as to who I'm supposed to pass it to, so perhaps you'll type it in the chat whilst we're talking, and I can find out. So assuming you've got a picture at all, of course. I've got one on my Ryde, so I hope so. There's Keith's problem, I think, is that the change that you made to reduce the bandwidth of the search to stop it hopping onto the other channel has sort of exposed a frequency error on his side, which means you can't receive it anymore. So that's probably a relatively easy fix once you find out what it is and put the right number in. Not a lot to say really. Been very busy doing work stuff. For a while, but we did have 4 days off, so I did have a go at a few things. Just going to show the bench camera to highlight. There's 2 things really. One is the converter box. I've made another one for my Belka DX, another LF converter box. This time into a box the same size as the Belka DX. That's the one with the antenna on it, and the tuner next to it, the one that's up there. You won't see it on my because I've not got a way of pointing at it, have I? I'm just wondering if it's worth pursuing that or not any further. I've done another board, but I haven't ordered it or tried it. I don't need to build another one, but maybe someone wants to build another one. I've sent out a couple of boards for people to have a go with. Anyway, nothing else of any consequence there, so let's go back to a picture of me. One amusing thing that I saw today, YouTube came up with a video, and the video was the one that Dave and Graham, G3VZV, gave at the AMSAT UK Colloquium in 2018 about QO100, and speculating about what sort of equipment we'd need for the narrowband and for the wideband transponder. And it's fun to watch these things to see whether we were right or not. And the quoted value is, well, 1.2 meter dish, 50 watts for 1 mega sample. It's not far out, actually. That's very good. I think the narrowband was a little bit more sensitive than we expected, but very, very close. So all good. And a lot of the things have happened as were predicted, and that was well before the satellite was launched, of course. Okay. Let's see, it's XAT, Gareth, G4 XAT, over to you, G0MJW.
Come on. Right. I'll check I've got audio this time, shall I? I have audio. Right. Okay, evening all from G4XAT. Thank you, Mike. Haven't been on for a couple of weeks, sort of a combination of all sorts of things getting in the way. Not least me trying to learn OBS amongst building things. I managed to finalise my 23 SEMS beam and put it up at a reasonable height and do a sweep on it. It's got a good match, plus or minus 2 megahertz either side of 1300 megahertz, and I haven't had time to trim it. So we'll see how we get on with that on Saturday, I hope. 23 SEMS PA to go with it. I've been working on one of these little bricks. It's got a Pluto friendly driver board and no switching. I just turn the BIOS off and on. It produces 1 watt of very clean DVB-S, and then I suppose about 3 or 4 watts of not quite so clean, so I'm not that impressed with that. I'll have to build something a bit better. It's got 4 of these which fit either end of the heatsink, so it's a push me pull you cooling arrangement, which just about does the job, I suppose. So there's that. Trying to get as many bands ready as possible for Saturday, and what sort of times are people going to be up and running, because I can either leave really early and hopefully get a parking space at Butster Hill. It's about an hour and a half drive from here, or I can go via Alton, where I want to pick up a tripod. So if someone can shed some times when they might be around. I've modified my my full wave dipole mount for 2 meters into a vertical or a horizontal, so I can spin that around, which might work a bit better, and that'll do for this over. I've got some pipe cap bits and pieces I'll talk about next time round. So round to G0 DQH from G4XAT in the BATC Net.
Just checking the audio. Okay. Well, good evening, everyone. someone mentioned a little earlier that my audio was quite bassy, so I got these other headphones, and the microphone is the culprit. So I'm not quite sure what the problem is, but we'll no doubt get to the bottom of it. So I'm back on my original phones. The only problem with them is that the lead is short, so I can't go much further back than that because I pull the cables out of the PC. So that's that. We had a very eventful weekend. We were coming out of the New Forest, driving out of the New Forest, came over the cattle grid towards the roundabout where the A31 meets the motorway near Cadnam, and the steering suddenly went solid and all the lights came on the dash, and although the engine was still running, and we had a battery failure. The main 12-volt battery failed, so that's been fixed, and we're back on the road. So we had a 4-hour wait for the guy to come and sort us out, and it was hot, really hot, and a passerby stopped and gave us some bottles of water, which was really, really nice. So there you go. We had a bit of rain here, by the way, about half an hour ago, so I'm not quite sure what it's doing at the moment outside. We're lucky, I think, in this part of the world, because we seem to miss all. It usually drops on the West Country first before it gets to the Isle of Wight and up to us in Southampton. So there you go. Who's next? So G4KLB. So I'll pass it around to you from G0DQH.
G0DQH, G4KLB. Thanks a lot, Jim. That's excellent. My call sounds sounds wrong when I say it. No wonder people don't get back to me when I'm calling CQ. Right, okay then. We've got a bit of sun coming in at the minute, but I'm reluctant to shut it out actually. So we'll sort of persevere with that. So we're up and running. What's the power? Actually, a tiny bit much, but it will drop back. It will drop back of its own accord anyway, to the right level. I had it on for quite a long time when I was aligning the dish, and so it dropped back to the right level. So I don't think that this over is going to be quite that long, but should be all right. Anyway, the dish is fixed. That's why I wasn't on last week, and strictly speaking wouldn't normally be on this week because I should be working late shift, but I've taken leave in order to make preparations for a bit of portable operation. I also, as a precautionary, I had my second COVID jab this morning, so it's a precautionary thing because last time I was a little bit rough and I didn't really want to be driving the van. I had a couple of it seemed to slow me down a little bit, and I was a little bit slow, so I didn't actually hit anybody, but driving the van wasn't really a good idea, and I struggled at work a little bit too. I pushed through, but there we are. Yeah, so here's what the dish. This is the damage that you may have seen previously. It's my own fault really, because the mounting wasn't strong enough. It ripped the face of the dish, something awful, something awful. So I've come up with a repair. I've taken a lot of pictures too, by the look of it. I'm going to minimise these because there's too many of them. They're not all of the dish either. There we go. So we've come up with this arrangement here, which is a 6mm plate either side. So that's it makes it's made the dish twice as heavy as it was before. And there's the front. There's the front. So that has, and we've bashed it straight again. back to a parabola as much as possible. There it is. How cheeky is this? I was working on it in the lounge. there was no room in the garden with all the chicken stuff that was happening, so I actually assembled it in the lounge. So I'm surprised I got away with that, but I've hoovered up all the swarf, so it should be fine. Then decided to give it a bit of a coat of paint. I've gone for woodland green, and the reason the reason for the woodland green, let's cut, is this. So there it is in full sun. It's a bit shiny in full sun, but you can see, zoom in a little bit. You see, there it is. It's quite sunny, and it wasn't quite dry, I don't think. But did that. But when it in the dusk, in the dusk, this is what the dish is. It has got a slight camo effect on it. If we can, perhaps, doesn't. There's a bit of a reflection there. Bit of a reflection off the screen there. Anyway, what dish? I see no dish. So that's it's now painted woodland green with a little bit of camo thrown in. A very subtle amount of camouflage. I think that's all I need to show on here. Oh, we've also been doing a bit of pressure testing. I've got the mast fixed, I think. So there's the van with the aerial all the way up. It doesn't go all the way up, but I wanted to put the full. And that's not going to focus. Good enough. Focus. Just come on, focus. No. I should have used the other camera, but it's not online at the minute. Anyway, well, you get the idea, anyways. That's it. And I had a bit of a setback today because I've done a systems check of this. This should be in the van. This is the port stand that goes in the van. And I was just checking because I'd never actually run it. I needed to check some levels and set the variable attenuator that's built into it and all the other bits and pieces as well. So I needed to know what power was going out. Well, I've got a power meter on the end of it, and the port stand was okay, but the although it wasn't actually okay as it turned out, it gave me power, but the symbol rate wasn't right, and got a little RF switch in there, the two-way RF switch. This one's a slightly later model than the one that's on the BATC, to switch between ports down and line, and then my little RF switch wasn't switching. And the reason for that turned out to be it wasn't being provided with the three highs. I'm not going to show you. I'm not going to show you all these diagrams, but that's the RF switch in question. The beauty with this one is it's got an LED on that shows, and you can actually manually make the logic work backwards. So I could see that everything else was all right, but it's taken me the rest of the day to actually find out what was wrong, and it appears that one of the GPIOs on this D2 wasn't, so I've had to swap the pi out. First time I've ever had to swap a pi. Something bad must have happened to it, because they're normally quite resilient actually, but anyway, something bad has happened to this particular one. Something must have shorted out somewhere at some point. I wasn't aware of it, but there we are. Anyway, put the pi in. And one thing I'll mention in case anyone else comes across it, then that'll do me for now, is the band switching doesn't occur until it goes till the TX light comes on. And so if you go and you want to check, because you've got the sort of readout there of what's it's not gonna. You got the logic there. Oh, there we are. Like 125 is low, high, low, etc., etc. That doesn't take effect. I was thinking it would take effect when you change the symbol rate on the front, but it doesn't. It does. What happens is when it goes at the end of the transmit delay, when the TX light comes on, it does it then, and then it changes everything. I wasn't aware of that because I'd never had anything go wrong before. But that's a little trick. That's a little thing that's worth knowing if you're looking in that area. Okay, that's it. And now it is G4FKK. So over to you, G4FKK. Wrong. That's the wrong. I'm about to push the wrong switch there. Over to you from G4KLB.
Yeah, fine, Colin. Thank you for that. A bit low today. Hang on. Oh, no, a bit high. Anyway, yes, good evening all. And I was enjoying watching GB3SQ earlier, Colin. Very entertaining. And all the relaying, etc. Don't know how you keep it all in order, as it were. Mike, if you've got a spare converter board, I wouldn't mind trying to build one and see if I can make it work. I think I've got a little bit of time at the moment. Gareth, glad you got the 23 SEM beam going. I wonder, I intend to be, I'm not going out anywhere on the activity bits and weekend, but I will be happy to point my aerials in various directions. I've got 4 meters, 2 meters and 70 SEMs up at the moment, and could probably get a couple of elements up for 6 meters. And I wonder how have you excuse me, have you come to a conclusion as how you're going to coordinate that? Are we going to try DX spot? That seemed like quite a good idea. James, audio sounded okay to me, and yeah, we had a bit of rain last night, but none today. I had my second COVID jab this morning, Colin, and the first one didn't affect me at all in the slightest. And I happened to mention, and I didn't even feel it when they were giving me the jab the first time. So I rather bravely said to this chap, well, I think you probably gave me a placebo the first time, because I didn't feel anything and I had no ill effects. So he said, well, I guarantee this one's a real one, and then gave me quite a painful injection. Anyway, it doesn't hurt anymore, and so far, touch wood, I haven't started feeling quoozy or anything. Your dish repairs in the lounge, Colin. I thought for a moment you'd sprayed it in the lounge as well, but I'm assuming you didn't do that. And your van looks like a BBC radio car to me. I wonder if it is an ex radio car or a SAT vehicle, and where it came from. Right, that'll do me probably. Oh, I was just going to show you one thing. One thing I was going to mention. I've managed to get PyHP-SDR and WSJTX working all on a Raspberry Pi and my homemade HF transmitter. Oh, that picture's terrible, sorry. So I've been whispering on 20 meters today. Got through to Australia and saw some pictures from some signals from Australia as well. Pictures would be good from Australia. And I do remember them seeing our 405 line transmissions in the old days when we were on BAM 1. So you never know. And the other thing I was going to mention, my Windows 10 did an update the other day, infuriatingly, because I always try and stop it doing that. And ever since then, I seem to be using a very great deal of CPU processing. If I can find display 2. There you go. Oh no, they don't go. There you go. So at the moment it's running 80% CPUage, which is a bit much. It used to, I mean, it was always working hard because it's only a very old i5, but it used to run, I suppose, about 50%. But now very often it goes up to 100%, and when it does, OBS disconnects from the Pluto, which is rather annoying. Right, that's enough from me. Oh, one thing, Noel, because it's coming around to you next. I don't know if HV's having some issues. I thought I might try rebooting it the other day, but I couldn't get into the rebooting page either. So you're probably doing something clever with it. Right, okay. So I will put it round to you, Noel, G8GTZ, to take it with the BATC Net. This is G4FKK standing by.
Well, evening all, and good to be back. Haven't been on for the last couple of weeks. If I look brown, which I don't, it's rust. Yes, it rained in Cornwall quite a bit. Anyway, right, couple of points. Pick up last point first. Yes, HV, GB3 HV, our little repeater, has got some issues, unfortunately. Network issues, and we've lost the control interface, so we can't kick the streamer. Our man Phil is on the case, and hopefully we'll be changing out what we think is the faulty network switch, and if not, I shall have to go up there and do something. But it's not been the most reliable recently, and so I think we have got an issue somewhere which we're going to have to find. What else? Yes, 50 megs. You were mentioning, somebody was mentioning Australia. Kind of disappointed that somehow there's a lot of sporadic E at the moment. Personally, not taking part in it, and the FM Band 2 boys are having a field day, but there doesn't seem to be any coordination or attempts or anything at the 50 meg DATV stuff, which is what we did the Nucker project for. So I did put a post on the forum in an attempt to wake things up, and Rob actually put a very sensible reply back, but not sure how we make it happen, but it would be a great pity if we didn't do it. Not particularly that keen for myself, but I think people ought to just be aware. So not much happening because spent 10 days in Cornwall. The Langston hang on, let me just the Langston is Langston stroke Portsdown standalone little box there is all finished and works, and we went out portable today. Oh no, that's the wrong picture. We did go up portable today, but unfortunately we didn't go there. So we went and did. I'll let somebody else who's on the net explain what that picture is. So I took the. It's done it. Hang on a minute. I took the Langston Portsdown out for its first real outing. That's the Portsdown Langston combination on top of the 76 gig gear. I'm going to have to try and go through these pictures quickly. And we did some narrowband stuff which was very interesting. This is the 47 gig gear, which was really what it was about. This was the 47 gig. So on the tripod you've got the 47 gig transverter, and then the Langston ports down. Now the 47 gig uses an IF of 10 gigahertz, and John JTT will be absolutely amazed to hear in that white box is his old transverter from about 20 years ago, which I've actually resurrected and got working, and it actually worked as the 47 gig IF today and worked really well. So anyway, we were doing 47 gigs. That's a closer shot of it on top of the 47 gigs. This is 26k with G4FRE, and I did actually receive TV from him. I know the MER on that picture says 2 or 3, but actually he was about 15. So that was 47 gigs over 26k, and we had what did we have, an MER of 12, 13. So God, the patterning on that is awful. Trying to take pictures of a Raspberry Pi screen is almost impossible, but great fun was had by all, and there were quite a few of us out. Dave, G1EHF, G4FRE. Just trying to see if I can show a picture of the lineup, and then I'll hand it on. That was the path we were working. So on the left hand side, that's the 76 gig, my 76 gig, and in the middle is my 47 gig, and then on the right hand side is Dave G1EHF's 47 gig. And interestingly, Dave, it just shows you what can be done. He's just running a single diode actually in the dish feed, and belting it with the local oscillator and some IF, and it was just literally the diode, so probably running, I don't know, microwatts, but it was heard over 40k today, so it was pretty impressive. That's what I've been up to. Oh, didn't you get any audio on that last? So yeah, just quickly on the left my 76 gig, in the middle my 47, and then on the far side Dave G1EHF's 47 gig, and that's just a diode. Audio was okay. Okay, fair enough. Right, okay, that'll do. Enough from me, and it goes round to Bernie in the flatlands. So over to you, Bernie. G4HJW to take it. G8G.
Right, good evening everybody, G4HJW. I think that's enough power, isn't it? Let's go over to the camera. I feel a bit guilty. I've been doing nothing compared to what almost everybody else has been doing on here. But I do struggle in the hot weather. I don't know if anybody else is the same. Temperature now is just right. But we've had 3 days here where I really can't do much, which is a nuisance and is tedious as well. So not so good, I'm afraid. I'll have to look at my notes because I'm getting very bad in the memory department these days. Oh, MER, yes. I've realigned the dish, and I'm now getting, on receive that is, now getting what I should do. But anybody got an explanation as to why I'm getting 10 dB MER on the beacon, i.e. 1 dB better than on the Goonhilly receiver, but elsewhere I'm generally a dB down, sometimes a dB and a half, and I can't really work out why that should be, so I haven't done much about it. It's fairly academic, but this has been consistent the whole time I've been running the gear here. So, oh, with the heat, yes, the only job I managed to do was sort out the wiring. Now, one thing I'm going to do is I just want to have a look at I've yet, on all the times I've come on, to look at myself on the streamer. Oh, okay, that's okay, I'm quite happy with that. But I didn't know how the aspect ratio would come out on there, but that's okay, I'm happy with that. And to you, Noel, I know when we were talking about radio articles in mechanical magazines in the early days, and you showed me one of those magazines to see if I've got that. Yes, that's okay, isn't it? Now I don't know what I should have recognised that I have a copy as well, but this one is March 1932, and doing a bit of digging around, the first edition came out in 1922, so that is very early, as you were saying. So I agree about that, Noel, and so I'm totally lost as to why some of the mechanical magazines were putting radio articles in on the early days. Right, vaccines. I've been very lucky. I've had my second jab. I didn't feel the needle at either point. Didn't have any symptoms. Perhaps a slight feeling of tiredness, but I often feel like that anyway, a couple of days on both occasions, but otherwise nothing. And I tend not to get colds or flu or anything like that, which, as I say, I think is very fortunate. So there we are. That's all I've got. Oh, I see Dave G6GZH is not on tonight. Hi Dave, see you watching. I know Dave has reduced the loss between the PA and the antenna on transmit, but so I thought Dave might be on tonight, but obviously not. And oh yes, one other thing, G8VZT, because he's not on the internet, quite right, Mike. It must be quite a problem because you don't even have the well, there's no feedback whatsoever, I guess. Oh, unless I said no, he can watch. No, it hasn't really got any feedback, has he? Because he only has the choice of looking at his own signal or any one other signal that's on. So I don't know how he's navigating. That must be very difficult. Right, on to you, Mikhail. I think I'm just about done. I've done well to last this long. I've really not been doing much with all the tidying up that I'm doing. So, HB9DUG, G4HJW, putting it onto you.
First lesson in French for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Good evening all. I'm very pleased to be back with you tonight.
And I would like to thanks Dave for the new scale on the I have a very big flash here in the Jura Mountains. Maybe the power will shut down. Huh? I'm not sure. We'll see. So I wanted to thanks Dave for the 20 dB scale on the band viewer. Very nice addition. Very appreciated. And most of my friends here are really very happy with the band viewer option, which is really nice. Now, if you are not aware of NDI is going to introduce, I think today or tomorrow, new version of the software which will also support not only on the local area network but also through the internet connections. And to introduce this, they are offering free of charge the NDI HX camera software on Android. So I encourage you to go to pick up the software, the Android software, because it's limited to 10,000 copies. So it works really very nicely with OBS, with the NDI plugin. So go for it before it's not anymore free. The next things I wanted to talk about is mid-June, on the 12th and the 13th of June, you know, is the ATV contest of the European IARU region. The HB9 TV team is going to go on top of the Jura Mountains. That's a mountain going from around Geneva to Basel. You know, it's really a very large chain of mountains, and we go to one called Chasseron at 1600 meters. I'll let you multiply by 3 to make the feet. And I was thinking a little bit crazy, you know, that maybe we could try some ATV on the 70 centimeter with slow small SR to UK. So I'm looking from some contacts with enough power to try it. So if you go to the for the Swiss ATV website, I've made a post about it, and where you can contact me and maybe give me some information if that you think is possible. I heard that you have some 1,000 feet hills. Well, that maybe is enough to try to do something. Okay, so that's maybe the next one can talk a little bit about it. And next thing I wanted to show you what I've been working on these 10 last days. This is my EF block for DATV on my SSB portable station on 10 gig. So on the box I got everything to connect to the transverter on my station. Let me change the picture. Pictures is coming. Yep. So the black box on the left is the mini tuner. The tin box on the right is the Lime Mini. On the middle you have a small PC board, which is the splitter of the BNC on the front, which comes with from the transverter with in and out, and is split in two channels. One goes directly to the lime takes, and the other one goes through again a splitter, 3 dB splitter for the receiving side. One goes to the mini tuner, and the other one goes back to the lime for the band viewer. It's nice to say that the board includes on the takes line amplifier, so I do not need some intermediate amplifier to go to my transverter, and I got about 3 watts of 10 gig with that solution, which is basically good enough. What I can do around from the Jura mountains towards France and within Switzerland. Voilà, I think that's what I wanted to show you and talk about tonight. So I'm going to give back the mic to M0 something, I think. Okay, so thank you very much.
Okay, yeah, Rob just had to nip out. I'll just mute this. I've lost the remote. That's better. Okay. First thing I'll show then is what I've been up to with Portstown. In preparation for the contest, lots of people who do multiple bands have had problems managing the contest numbers. So I've done a bit of functionality here. You go to menu 3, set call locator and PIDs. Now the reason it's under set call locator and PIDs is I'm running out of space on menu 3, and I want it, and it's all locator related. So just remember, numbers are locator related. And sorry, wrong button. Call locator and PIDs, and then set contest codes. And here you can set up 5 sites and a set of contest codes for each site. So if you're mad like Dave G4FRE, who moves site twice in one day, you can set up all 3 sites before you leave home. So you can edit the site. You go into edit site, the button goes red, and you pick one of the sites. So site 1, you confirm the locator, because it will change that as well, and then you change the numbers for band 171, the numbers for 146, 77, 23, 9, 6, 3 and 24 gigs. So that's put them into store. Then you can load them. So you say, okay, load that site. You take site 1 and you load that in. Oh, and then you want to check them. So you show site codes, show in use site, and then you get a screen with every code there. And as you can see, they're all set to the defaults. All the defaults, by the way, are illegal, so that people can't use them. Yes, Mike, there is no menu 4. Well, there is actually. It's one of the receiver menus as far as I can remember. But anyway, so that makes contest codes management a little easier. The other thing I will give a preview of, menu 2, Lime SDR Mini Band Viewer. Thank you for your comments on that, Michelle. Let's bring up the band viewer there. Now on this one, that's tuned to 437, and I've got a switchable noise source on the output of that. So if I pull this switch over here, you'll see the noise level goes up because my switchable noise source goes up. But what you can now do is go into mode, noise figure, and it turns the noise source on and off, does the calculations and says, Lime SDR on its own has got at 70 sems has got a noise figure of 5.1ish dB. You can see the noise figure there. So that's the system noise figure of the basic measuring system. The next step, which I haven't constructed yet, constructed in software that is to work out the noise figure of a device under test. But you see this sprog here is a receive sprog in the Lime, but it makes very little difference to the noise figure because it's averaged across the whole band. Okay, so back to the main menu. Exit to ports down. You can now do it from that menu. You just have to press it twice, just so it doesn't happen and surprise you. Okay, let's chuck on something like that for a moment while I move the camera around and turn some lights on. Yes, I know I'm in the background. And let's fade that out. This is OBS for you. I hate it. Okay, fade. There we go. Right. From the notes, I just had a quick look at the chat, see if there's anything there. Bernie, I'm not sure what you were referring to on using Goonhilly as a reference. You can't really use the height of a signal on the Goonhilly SDR as a reference for MER. Because MER is related to FEC, sorry, D number is related to FEC. MER, not sure. It's not intended that way anyway. Pi screen capture, I put up a couple of notes there about how to do it, but basically if you touch the bottom left you capture the screen. Gareth, you mentioned 1296 for video. We generally use 1255 for 23 sem video, but I can do both, so that won't be an issue. Lime SigGen, I didn't show that, but I've been working on making the signal generator work with the Lime. There is the problem of the calibration before it runs, but that does work. Does not work if you've got the DVB software loaded though. Michelle, that looks a very nice Ports Down 4 build. Really impressed with that. And what have I been up to apart from software? I've been testing all my kit for the weekend. Dug it out of the garage, couldn't remember what half the sockets did, labelled them all up and got it all working. So hopefully should be... I've stalled a few of the disasters that will no doubt happen on Saturday. Okay, Peter and Dave, Peter G10AR and Dave G8VZT have confirmed they don't want to transmit, but good to see your pictures earlier anyway, both, and Dave, get well soon. So, straight round to Mike, I think, G0MJW, and the net, G8GKQ.
Oops. Oh dear, that took me by surprise. Mute. Right, okay. I was going to say, I mean, you can get noise sources on eBay, or you can get them on AliExpress, so it's worth checking out if they're any good or not, rather than going to a noise diode. A professional noise diode costs a fortune. Right, well, I'm not sure I got anything particularly new to show, but seeing as Martin mentioned it, I'll just do this if I can find the right button. Just have to move things about. Right, that should work. And I've got to find the desktop. So, Colin, this is how you do desktops in OBS. Or show photographs or things. So that's the new version of the board, and the big difference is around this bit at the bottom where I'm moving the mouse about. There's a bit of instability here, so I've put this amplifier device a lot closer to the place where it's coming from, the mixer, and then I've got this long line and then the filter coming out of this connection here. So hopefully that will work. Sorry, actually I just realised that this is not the right colour, which is obviously because it's a prototype it should be red. So there you go. So that's where we are with that, and I think it's ready for someone to beta test it. I've made a few changes. I've changed the connections to SMAs because BNCs are big and expensive, as I discovered. More expensive than I thought they were. Still designed to fit in the standard box. I've made some capacitors bigger. I would toy with the idea of getting rid of some of these other regulators, but I haven't done that yet. So this is a simplified board, but we'll see if it works. Need someone to beta test it. That's what it looks like on the other side. More or less. We can do a proper render whilst I'm rabbiting on about something else. The other thing is, when I was doing my doing some work with the Pi, I decided I needed the Pi 2 for something else that was driving my what do you call it, the Digithin. So the Digithin needs a new Pi, and I had the old original Pi which had stopped working, but then the reason it stopped working is because the connector for the SD card had broken, so I bodged a replacement. So that's now working again, but the software isn't, so it's not working with the Pi version 1. So if Brian's about, Brian, need some solution to that, like the original software, because all the links have gone from 2015, it was that long ago. What else? Noise sources. Yeah, there are plenty of noise sources on eBay, but I can have a look at that if anyone's interested. I quite like Dave's idea there of making a noise figure meter. I've wanted one of those for a while, and it doesn't need to be calibrated really. It only needs to be capable of minimizing the noise figure. I mean, you might want to know roughly what it is, like is it 10 dB or is it 1 dB or is it 2 dB? But you don't really want to know if it's 0.25 or 0.26. What you do want to know is if it's the minimum or not. So I think that would be quite a useful thing. So maybe I'll look into that. I'm always looking for PCBs to design. Okay. With that, I don't think there's anything else. Oh, yeah, no, don't think so. So 7.3 to everyone. Who am I passing it to? Let me just check. I assume it's the same, unless the order has changed. G4XAT, Gareth, over to you. G0MJW.
Right. I can hear my fan, so I'll assume that's okay. Okay. G4XAT to the net. Thank you, Mike. That upstroke down converter looks good. That noise source I posted, I've had one of those noise diode things for years as a very crude tracking generator, in as much as you can use it for having a look at filters on software-defined radios and so on, which is what I was using it for. It tails off as you get up into UHF and SHF, but I don't remember where it tails off. It's certainly good for 70 thems. You can fiddle around there fine. Okay, right, what was I going to talk about? Okay, pipe cap filters. I've been experimenting with these. These are 28mm ones. There's one that I put a plunger on the end and silver plated with the benefits of one of those super duper silver plating things. That one tunes to 5.66. That's a 22mm pipe cap. The basis of some of these are these tiny little things. I thought they were precision piston caps, as indeed some of the junk I bought, but they're not. They're just a very fine pitched silver plug that screws in and out, and they're marvellous. So I was testing my 5.7 gig system. Sorry Noel, I can't talk to you now unless you're ringing me about no audio. Camera is a C920. I've got one of these things as well, which is a fisheye, one of those ESP cams. I won't leave that on long enough for anyone to comment about the state of my desk. Thank you very much. It's always like that. There's too many projects on the go. Okay, so the 5.6 gigahertz receive goes through a bandpass, eBay amplifier, mixer. Thanks very much, Noel. That is fed by an eBay DDS through a pipe cap filter tuned to the IF, through an amplifier into an attenuator into the mixer, and then that feeds into a 3.4 pipe cap, which feeds into a quarter wave inside the LNB, and it works a treat. So it's like a double conversion, and then that goes off to my mini tuner. Okay, oh, you only saw a black test card. Oh, who's that then? Looks okay this end. I'm showing my end, whatever. Okay, what else? I tested my Ferranti amp on 5.6, and I found I could fully drive it with the Pluto, driven by DATV Express, and didn't need to turn the drive up much at all. Noel and the Southern group, shall I take a 2-meter beam with me? That's my last question. Other than that, and I'll aim to be up and running by 10:30ish as well. I can but hope. Yeah, I know DATV is supposed to be on 1250, but I haven't trimmed the beam. It's not its design frequency, but it's where it matches, so it is at least usable, and it certainly has directivity. Right, okay, I'll take my beam as well. And I've also got 3 of these on varying different frequencies, very easy to adjust. A 3-pole interdigital, I think they're called. And finally from me tonight, I bought another one of these. This is a 10 gigs transceiver, 50 quid from our Polish friend, and he's now published data on how to use it, which includes all the DC pinouts and the IF frequencies for TX and RX, and therefore it'll absolutely go like a dream with a Langstone, and probably some sort of DATV. Okay, that's it from me, I think. I hope to see several of you on Saturday in some shape or form. So round to Jim, G0DQH from G.
Okay, just checking the audio again. Yep, that's fine. Okay, nothing really much to add this end, except we've had to put our holiday off to Greece in September for the 3rd time. So hopefully we'll get there eventually in May next year, hopefully. And no one's been to this particular island. It's Lefkas or Lefkada, whichever you want to call it. And it's the island just below Corfu. And it's the only island that's got a bridge that goes over from the mainland. So you can drive down from Treviso Airport and straight over onto the island. So we're looking forward maybe next year to going back there for the 10th or the 11th time, something like that anyway. So that was a major problem we had to sort out today with changing all that. And not easy. If anybody else is thinking of doing the same, it's not easy, believe me. I'm getting a bit fraught here this afternoon. We're going to be doing that. Okay. I'll maybe see you all next week, and before we go off to Wales for a week. So I'll be taking a radio with me, so maybe 2 meters. Okay, this is G0DQH, passing it on to G4KLB from
Right, thanks a lot. Excellent. Good. Let's find the volume control. Turn it the right way. That's better. There we go. Right. Oh, we want a picture. There we go. Yes, I'm running 1902. I think I've just turned it back over again. What I do is I write underneath what software they're running. It's something that was current at the time. This one's running 0303. It has had 0201 and 2312 in its time, amongst other things. So that just happened to be one that was free, so I'm just using that one. It was current when it was put on. I don't think it's anything new though. So it's probably quite an old one now. Probably needs to, I stopped doing the other ones because I'd heard when the first 0303 came out there might have been some issues, so I didn't do them all at the time. But I guess it's okay now. I haven't looked recently for the software. Right, okay. Yes, my van. Yes, you were asking about my van. My van, in a former life. No, not that one. Get the right thing. This was the activity it did. Every BBC radio station had one of these vans. Each area had one of these vans. There was loads of them at one point, doing the outside. This was just radio, not TV, doing the broadcast and such like. And this one is mine when I'd just taken delivery of it, and it was in a bit of a state. It's still got it's got all the paperwork in the front. That's right. I just give it a wash. Because it was very grimy. I bought it from a scrapyard in Kent. Bought it from a scrapyard in Kent, and I paid somebody without seeing it to put it on a low loader. They had to they damaged it unfortunately. And they've been moving it around the scrapyard with a forklift truck because the front end had collapsed. And I guess that's why it was scrapped, and it was in a bit of a state, but she cleaned up quite well. It still says BBC on the front, but I've put KLB stickers over the I didn't really want to drive around with BBC on, and so I put KLB stickers over the top. They're magnetic, so it still says BBC underneath when I need to give it a proper wash. So that's that, and inside it still had some stuff inside. That was what was in the rack originally. Not too bad. I've reused a lot of it. Actually, the top unit is now the Portsdown 4, and the switch unit and the battery monitor is still there. I planned today that all those switches on there go to XLR power, and I was going to. I've just took delivery this morning of some XLRs to plug into that to use for power. Everything except the PA, which is over its current rating, really. But everything else can go on those switches, and then I shall still use the switches, but use a relay in between to switch the higher current stuff. So yeah, so still had a radio in it, and it still had a 77 amplifier, which is actually quite good actually. So that's that. So that's there she is. You can just see the bucket in the bottom there where I will give it a wash. But it was a bit of work to get it back. The guy advertised it on eBay, and he was only selling this mast. And I managed to knock him down a little bit on the mast, and managed to, because I said it's going to cost me a fortune to get this recovery. I got a local recovery firm to go and get it, and they dragged it back here and slid it off into the drive. So it's been a fair bit of work, but it's my daily drive. I haven't got any other vehicle. This is my only vehicle, so I wanted a vehicle that I could drive every day, and so I go to work and back in this every single day. But also wanted to be able to do a bit of TV whenever I felt the desire. so that's these. We've been slowed down what was building a repeater, and obviously the satellite has slowed me down a little tiny bit, but we're still going. So there we are. So we'll be going out again in it. What I do is I put a rotator on the top, and then a big pole on that, and whatever aerials I'm using. This weekend I'm taking 70 sems and 23 sems. I wasn't going to take 2 meters. 2 meters rather depends how far I get. I'm really almost out of time really, to get even this working. So I bolted this here into the van, and it was just going through its final checks, and I found I had a problem, and in the end I had to bring it back in here to be able to work on it. So anyway, we found the fault, so that's good. I guess the filter modulator is really not needed anymore. The Lime can do what it used to do. I'm half happy and half disappointed that it has to go, because a lot of work went into that. But there we go. Anyway, there we are. That's it from me. So I've lost the list now. It'll be the same person I passed it to last time, I think. G4KLB. Now I've added those pictures. The thing. There we go.
Yeah, fine, Colin. G4KLB, and the net G4FKK. Yes, old BBC Oxford's old radio. Well, I think they were still called radio cars. They got a new posh name after they got the next model. But that looks like a. Well, I thought they were very posh when those ones came out. I think when I was at BBC Radio London, we had a Ford Cortina, which is our radio car. Shows how long ago that was. Anyway, very good. All very interesting tonight. I'll just whiz through my notes. Okay, Noel on Phil working on HV. Well, that's good. And your portable gear looks extremely well organised. Bernie, I thought your audio sounded okay tonight. So you were apologising for 2 sources, I think, earlier. And I could tell you were suffering from the heat with those shorts on, Bernie. I never get 10 dB of MER on the beacon with my 1.1 meter dish, but I've moaned about that before. Michelle, I was quite interested in what you were showing us there, but I did get interrupted, so I wonder what that Android software was that you were extolling us to download before it costs money. It was something to do with NDI, I think. And the Mountain Trek sounds good. I shall look that up later. So I have got a 70SEMS beam up, but I suspect you won't see much from me. But you never know, I might hear something from you. And I wonder, I saw you got your Lime. I assume it's a Lime Mini in the tin box there. I wonder if you've got a fan on that. I've got a Lime Mini in a plastic box, kindly printed by Gareth G4XAT, and I had to put that fan. Oh, hang on, there we go. Had to put that fan on it, and it's a tiny fan, and it's the noisiest fan in the entire shack. It's really annoying. So I need to throttle that back a bit. But I found that after a while that the Mini got so hot that it started doing peculiar things. So anyway, yours obviously works fine, so that's interesting. Yeah, the new Portsdown 4 software's excellent, Dave. I've had, well, apart from the Lime DVB, which you've explained, the question I've got is, do I need Lime DVB these days? I can't remember what it does. I know I use it when I'm transmitting pictures, but I wonder if I reverted it back to a standard Lime, whether that would still would work on everything on the Portsdown 4 these days, and how you go about rolling it back, as it were. I'm glad you got that Sprog. Well, not glad, I don't mean it that way, but I got that as well, so I was wondering what it was. So very good. Yeah, Mike, I always get the green boards from JLC because I don't think they charge any extra. So if I do print them, they won't be red, I suspect. I'm not sure what a DigiThin is. And also, I noticed in the background, Mike, your hacker's looking very lonely. You seem to have gone down to one hacker, so I wonder what's happened to the other one. I hope we don't have to worry about it. Gareth, yeah, your test card was on for quite a long time. By the time you went to your fisheye, and we all saw that, and then you went back to your 920, and all was okay after that. But we didn't see your pipe cap filters and that sort of thing. Jim, sorry you're not getting to Greece, or at least not when you were hoping to. I'm sure that'll all happen sooner or later. Right. I was going to show you this. This arrived this morning. I should probably block out my address on it. This is a little package that arrived. So I thought, I wonder what that is, because I didn't remember ordering anything. And inside was an anti-static bag. And that was it. Nothing. So I've gone back through my eBay and Amazon orders to try and work out what it should be. But so far it's proving elusive. Anyway, I'll keep you all posted with that in the future. Right, I'll quickly whiz it around to you, Noel, and I'm assuming Rob's back, so we should get to see something from him shortly. So, let's have a quick look if there's anything I needed to blah blah blah. Hackers are redistributed around the house. It's nice to have so many hackers. And evening to you, Keith. Hopefully we'll see you on shortly. Right. G8GTZ and the BATC Net. Good night, everyone. G4FKK.
See, okay, very interesting, everybody. Good stuff. Just wait for the FFmpeg buffer in the Ryde to fill up. There we go. Good. Okay. Just a couple of comments. The noise source. Yes, I think it would be. It'd be interesting. And if we could do one that covers the more interesting frequencies where people are likely to be building preamps. 2 meters and 70SEMS really these days aren't where it's at. But if to those who haven't used a a noise figure meter, or indicator, let's call it an indicator, you really need to. It's phenomenal. But as Mike says, it doesn't need to read down to half a dB or 0.2 of a dB. But something that's useful and also compatible with the 28 volt professional sources. I'm not sure why I'm really pushing this project, because I probably won't build one, because I picked that up at one of the microwave updates in the States a few years ago. It's a 15 dB ENR. I forget how much I paid for it, but there was a box of them, something like $20. So very nice. But I think that would be an interesting project, and with Dave doing the software, which is fantastic, I think it would be useful at least to be able to point people in the right direction, you know, to give them a reliable source so they can get half meaningful results. That'd be good. Gareth, what was that 10 gig transceiver that flashed before our eyes and flashed the other side? I didn't quite catch that. That would be interesting to know what that was. As I say, I use 10 gigs for the IF on 47, so I'm looking for a reliable but economic thing. I have got this transverter that I've refurbished yet again, but I'm not sure if I'm 100% trustworthy of it. Holidays, yes, don't quite get what all the clamour to go abroad is, I must admit. I think it'd be fairly sensible if people just admitted this year we're not going anywhere, but that's just me. I did actually start to see the light though in Cornwall last week. Gareth, time, yeah, we've discussed time, so it looks like it's going to be 10:30, 11ish on Saturday. Frequencies, yeah, well, we're fairly agile actually. Dave FRE was saying exactly the same thing. No, that's quite interesting. Okay, I'll have to have a look at that. The shop is back open, by the way. I only came home to 21 orders. I instantly ran out of jiffy bags. So life has returned to normal at this end, and yes, HP hopefully will get it repaired as soon as possible. But I would like to find a reliable thing for it. Right, okay, who do I put it round to? I think it was Bernie last time, so I think it's going to be Bernie this time. Right, over to you, Bernie, and thanks to everybody. Interesting net, and catch you all again next week. It'll be in the last throes of contest preparation, so please do try and get out if you can, and publish your plans on the forum. And don't work anybody but G stations. Working HB9s is not allowed, because that will only bump up his scores. And pray for another lockdown in Italy before next weekend, please. Right, who's taking it? Bernie. G4HJW.
Thank you, Noel. G4HJW. This will be the first week I've managed to do both overs without the lighting on, which is quite good, which is why the picture is a little bit dark, I'm afraid, so sorry about that. I'll just go through my notes. I really don't have a lot, as usual, since I'm in permanent tidy up mode. Yes, the mast on the pump up mast on the car, Colin, When you stopped, or when the BBC stopped using VHF and UHF, and all those pump-ups became redundant, for some reason a lot of them got stored in Cambridge, and somebody I know bought a good number of them and offered me one at a good price. And these are Clark masts. I don't know if they're all the same. It's been very good, and I'm really pleased with it. To avoid annoying the neighbours, I have the compressor actually in here in the shack. It's very noisy, but yeah, I'm very happy with those. And I haven't turned the audio off again. Right, that's what I meant, Martin. It gives a burbling noise, I find, when I have audio from the analog camera. That's the problem. I have to remember to switch that path off, and then that background burbling, not me, but the noise should disappear. So that's good. Well, in all the heat we've had in the last few days, and causing problems, I had to use the Corsa on Sunday to go somewhere. I hadn't charged up the leaf, and the doors had been wound up all day. This was well into the afternoon, and I got going when I put the radio on. Pretty much all the dashboard locked up, but fortunately it had no effect on the engine at all, which was quite a relief. And although that has improved, now it's gone back to normal temperature, it hasn't 100% gone back to normal, so I shall just have to live with that, I'm afraid. On the noise generators, I was very lazy. I also bought one of the HP ones. Mine's a 6 dB ENR source, which is very handy. But I tend to use it on its own and not with the associated Marconi HP noise meter, which is a hell of a waste of a decent noise meter. But I tend to just put a square wave on it and just view the output on a spectrum analyzer, and that is near enough for me on anything I want to do. Okay, I shall wish everybody a good night, and put it over to Mikhail, and maybe see you next week. Maybe not, because at the minute I'm doing so little. I don't have anything to add to the net, so it's getting a little bit embarrassing. So I may just watch next week. Oh, and okay about your comment on MER, Dave, being just an completely analog person. I have to go away and think about that, and it is quite frustrating as well, I must say. Right, on to you, Mikhail, G4XJW.
Okay, so regarding the NDI software, in fact it's a software which make of your mobile phone 4K video camera, and runs with the plugin, NDI plugin on OBS or VMX through Wi-Fi connection. So it looks like well, something like this. You can adjust, you can choose the resolution. So it's really a very nice product, and it works much better than our Logitech cameras. So if you have an old phone like me, I'm lucky. My wife is making a high consumption of mobile phones, so you can use them to have very nice cameras for just nothing. Yes, it's exactly similar to Larix. So normally this one costs about 20 euros. But now, because they are introducing some new products, they are giving it away for the 10,000 first download. That's it. The Line Mini is on the tin box without any ventilation. The heat goes through the screw to the tin box. I never had any issue with it like this. So that's it for that. And regarding the Line DVB, basically is improve the throughput of the USB connection by packing the data in different way. And that is quite interesting when you want to go with a high sample rate, like 4,000 or maybe a little bit more. Oh, they pass already the 10,000. Oh, shame. Yeah. Anyway, that's the APK can be a copy if needed. It's not an issue. Okay, I don't think I have other thing left for the time being. And link Michel for that software. Well, somebody said already he's gone. It's called, you go on the, you Google on the NDI HX Hotel X-ray camera and you will get the software. That's it. Yep, exactly what is coming out. It's back to they're already selling it. But the Larix does it well also. No, I got it also on my mobile. It goes also very well. Okay, now back to, I think, is M0 DTS. I wish you all a nice evening, end of week, nice weekend, and a lot of traffic for you. And by the way, for the one which are doing SSB on the hyperband, it's an expedition of the French people in Corsica. They are just going there by boat today, and they are going to be there for 2 weeks. And they are also going to transmit over the QO100 satellite on DATV to show a little bit what they are doing. And we have been doing in the past expeditions some very nice SSB on 10 gig transmission with them without too much problem. Well, of course, depending on the weather. Okay, this is HB9 Delta Uniform Golf, handed over the frequency. Thank you very much.
Hey, it works. I did test it earlier, but you know how things go. Right. Yeah, that's the updated band viewer. I don't know, you've probably already shown it, Dave, but anyway, it's working fine here with the big line, the old line, I don't know, the multi-port line, whatever it may be. They're both USB. But yeah, that's working fine. You can maybe do with a bit of averaging on there actually now to kind of make it look a bit easier to read, but you know, don't want to suggest any more things. I don't know what the pulse up and down thing is that I've got there. It's it just appeared, so not really sure what that is, but it's definitely not on the satellite. Quite a bit of LO leakage on mine there, but it's working fine. I haven't tried any of the other stuff. But did I get a tip? No. Absolutely not. So there we are. Right, I'll go. Well, actually, wobbly camera. Back to normal. Zoom back out, not in. We don't want to zoom in. So yeah, there was quite a few interesting things there. I missed a little bit in the middle there, but all interesting stuff. Like in the 47 gigs and all, it's on the list, but you need somebody at the end to be able to work. So it's quite difficult, that one, but it will happen sometime. Anyone that's got 6 meters up at the moment, if you monitor, have a look on 6 meters. Maybe, I don't know whether you'll hear anyone on SSB, but certainly FT8 is wide open. Here in Brazil at the moment. Where's desktop? Desktop, if you want to see what the FT8 frequency looks like at the moment, there we go. Let's see whether that's come up. Yeah, it's pretty busy. I don't know. Not that we're going to work anyone down there anytime soon, but just looking back to see what we got. Way. It gets a bit quick, does this? There was a Papa Victor 8 Alpha Bravo Charlie, I think, on just not long back. Anyway, you know what it's like. So yeah, that's pretty busy on there at the moment. So I've not heard Brazil before, so that was a first for me. I did a few tests earlier on TV. I was actually going to run the net from the van, but I had a couple of issues with arrangement and stuff like that. I didn't actually have the amplifier installed in the van. It was at the bottom of the mast, which is nearby, but then I had to run a long cable from it to get to the dish on the van and various things, so I abandoned it in the end. But I was managing to get into the satellite about D0 on 2/3 333 kilosymbol with 40 watts to 80 centimeter dish, so that wasn't too bad. Doable, but 1/2 was working fine. It was like D3 or something, D2, D3, so it was interesting. So my amplifier and the 80 centimeter dish will work for portable. Just need to back off just a little bit. So I will be doing a portable session in on the net sometime. Don't know when, but sometime it will be happening. What else? QuickTune. There's an updated version of QuickTune out. I've done that today. It was actually 3 versions today, but if you just go for the latest one, 1.25B, I think it is now. Don't ask me. I don't really know, but it's the latest one that's on there, and that allows 8 receivers, a couple of other little changes to it, and there's yet another fix for the 1000 value separator, the comma or the dot. So hopefully I've finally fixed that bug now. Seems like there's been a bug around for a few versions. So that was fixed. So that's on GitHub now, or if you search for it on there, or there's a link from the chat earlier in today if you want to look. I think that's about it. Oh no, Michelle, 70 sems, yes, certainly look forward to giving it a try. So if we want to make a sked either day, hopefully I'm going to be portable both days next weekend, so the Saturday afternoon, evening, or the Sunday is a possibility. Both the locations I go to are about 1,000 or 1,200 feet above sea level, so reasonably high up, but I don't think the weather looks great as far as pressure. I think it's quite low pressure, but you never know. There might be something in there. So yeah, I cleared the bench earlier, and I've not quite taken after Mike with his super fantastic blue matting on there, but I've got some hand-me-down matting from work that still works perfectly fine. But I've actually got an actual ESD mat on the bench now. I need to earth it properly, but it's a step forward. So like, that's not going to stay like that for very long, I'm going to assure you. So yeah, still been playing with this phase shifter unit for nulling out my noise on 6 meters. The only thing is now it's got rather overcomplicated as things go. So I made this little board up this week, and that is 2 I2C, I2C, however you call it, digital analog converters, and then a dual op amp just to scale the voltages up to 0 to 12. And my analog circuitry isn't exactly that great, to be honest. I'm not great with the analogy stuff, but I put it into Quux software and had a bit of play with that and figured out why it wasn't working. So yeah, that gives 0 to 12 volts out for 2 different controls, the phase and the level, on my phase shifter board. And there's even a little screen now that tells me my phase, plus or minus 180, and then there's roughly 35 dB of pin diode attenuation on the path there, and 2 little pots there. So I'll kind of make it eventually. I think the circuitry will cover 4 meters and 2 meters as well, so I'll just adjust the ranges that it tunes on the phase shift to get the plus or minus 180 on 4 meters and 2 meters. We'll just have it as like an option. So it's getting there. But, yeah, it's got rather overcomplicated, but yeah, that's part of the fun, isn't it, really? So there we go. Who was commenting there? Wasn't responding on 6 meters FT8. Who was calling me then? Let's have a look. There's only been like 100 lines of at least of decode since you last said. Who else? Papa Victor 8 Alpha Bravo Charlie. There we go. It'll disappear by the time I get there. Whoop. There you go. Fox Juliet 92 square. So he's back again there. Minus 19, so he's quite weak now. He was a lot stronger before. Can't see any others. Yeah, there's a lot of call signs on there. It's pretty open. That's with the 5-element Yagi. So yeah, haven't done any more on. Sorry for the long over, by the way. Haven't done any more on the 6 meter transmit stuff. Haven't really been in the shack that much, to be honest. I've been trying to make the most of the nice weather. So pottering about outside in the shed and various things. So not a great deal done in here. So we'll get back onto that. I've got a longer session off next week. I've got 7 days off work, so bit of prep for the contest, and should get a few other things done as well. So I think that is about it. Yeah. Back around to you, Dave. Oh, you were calling me. I was beaming the wrong way. What time did you call me, Mike? Let's have a look. See if I can see you. Give us a time and I will have a look. Okay. Papa Victor's probably going to be stronger than you, I would imagine. But, yeah. 2038. Let's have a look. 34, 5, 6, 37. Oh, man, this is difficult, isn't it? It scrolls past every 15 seconds and you lose where you're at. Well, it didn't pop up in red on my screen or anything, so it didn't automatically reply to you, so I'm presuming it didn't hear you. Ah dear. Right, back around to you, Dave. G8 GKQ, 0 DTS on the BATC Net.
M0 DTS on the BATC Net, G8 GKQ. Okay, Rob, thanks for that. Computers talking to computers, not sure about that. Michelle, 70sems on the Sunday morning is probably the best time for me as well. I'll be on a reasonable site towards the south with about 50 watts on 70. So I'll be on the contest, so we can certainly turn the beam your way and look for you. Lime SDR minis do get quite hot, I have found, and you might hear some fan noise in the background here. That is a fan on a Lime SDR mini, and I've had one fail on the power supply, and I think it was a heat problem that encouraged it to fail, shall we say. The noise figure measurement in the Portsdown, I'm saying, is a noise figure estimator. Although I reckon it should be fairly accurate. I think the main problem is going to be calibration of the actual noise source itself. But it does seem to be pretty good. Lime DVB software I no longer use. It's great if you're running 4 megasymbols or even 8 megasymbols. But the propagation delay in it is longer than the standard Lime software. The only other advantage of using Lime DVB is the waveform is cleaner. You get about 50 dB shoulders out of the Lime instead of 30 or 40. But on QO100 that's not really relevant, I feel. So no, I use the standard Lime software all the time. I think that was all I had to comment on. Been a good net. Thank you all for coming on this evening, and look forward to seeing some of you on Saturday, and certainly even more of you on Saturday week. So good night all. G8 GKQ closing the BATC Net, and see you all next week.